So today we are back reacting to mythical UFC matchups. First off, today we have got Khamzat Chimaev versus Shayatrachmanov, two of the best prospects currently in the UFC, if you'd even count them as prospects. I mean, Khamzat's one fight away from fighting for the belt, and Shavkat's realistically probably fighting for the belt next. But nonetheless, this is a fight that people have spoke about for quite some time now. Obviously, they did both fight in the welterweight division. Khamzat just can't make that weight properly now, so he is up a middleweight. This is a really, really hard one to decide who would win, because we haven't seen Shayatrachmanov have to defensively grapple, and that will be a big factor, especially early on in this fight against Khamzat Chimaev. And in my opinion, Khamzat Chimaev is probably the best first round fighter we have ever seen in the UFC. I mean, if you just look at what he done to Kamaru Usman, now yes, it was on short notice for Usman and up a weight class, and he was coming off two back-to-back losses. He's still one of the all-time greats, and what Khamzat Chimaev was able to do in the first round, he just completely mauled Kamaru Usman, who we all thought was a great grappler, and he still is a good grappler. Just Khamzat has that in him. He is an amazing grappler. He's so explosive, so strong, especially in the earlier rounds. Now, my prediction for this would be, I think Khamzat would win the first two rounds. By the way, I'm counting all these fights as 5-rounders. So, yeah. Anyway, I think Khamzat would have a very good first round and second round against Shayatrachmanov. We really need to see Shavkat's defensive grappling. I feel like Shavkat wouldn't be the one to engage in the grappling with Khamzat Chimaev, but obviously Khamzat would be the one to initiate it with Shavkat, so we would need to see how he grapples defensively. This is such a fucking hard one to pick. Khamzat as well has good hands on the feet, and he is powerful, and we've seen Shayatrachmanov get caught by Jeff Neal, who's also a very powerful striker, so we know Shavkat has a chin. Do you know what? I'm going to say Shayatrachmanov beats Khamzat Chimaev by decision. I feel like Khamzat will have a good first, second round against Shayatrachmanov, but Shavkat's forward constant pressure, I think it would just drain Khamzat Chimaev, who does have a bit of a cardio issue. You can see that he visibly drops off as the fight goes on. We thought that might have cleared up when he moved to middleweight, but we've seen that that's still an issue when he was in there against Kamaru Usman. Shavkat with the constant forward pressure, I feel like he would, I don't think he'd break Khamzat to the point where Khamzat would quit or be stopped or anything. I just feel like he would overwhelm him with volume and stuff like that, and I think that Shavkat would take the win by decision. Next up, we have got Toria versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, in the other video, we spoke about Toria versus Islam Makhachev. I feel like Ilya has more of a chance against Khabib than he does Islam. Do I believe that? Yeah. I mean, Khabib Nurmagomedov's grappling really isn't great. Khabib Nurmagomedov's striking, what the fuck am I on about, really wasn't great. The only reason he was ever able to have much success on the feet was because everyone was so scared of his takedown. But Toria, a lot of people forget about this, when he started MMA, he was a grappler. Ilya is a good grappler. Now, will he be able to out-grapple Khabib Nurmagomedov? No, I don't really think anyone really would be able to. I feel like Khabib Nurmagomedov's grappling, his strength, plus he'd just be so much bigger than Topuria in there. I feel like Khabib would win this, although it would be interesting to see, because I feel like Topuria, how would I describe this, wouldn't be as worried of the takedown threat as a lot of other people are, for the likes of a Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, shit like that. I feel like Topuria would be happy enough to at least risk trying to knock out Khabib, and in the process maybe getting taken down, or risk trying to catch Khabib coming in. Topuria is a great boxer as well, and he is extremely powerful. We do know Khabib has a chin though. I think Khabib would take it. I think Khabib would beat Topuria, my opinion. Next up, Wonderboy versus MVP. Hopefully this is a fight that we do get to see. Obviously now, both guys are kind of coming to the end of their career. MVP has just signed with the UFC, obviously, but Wonderboy's up there in his 40s now. Wonderboy did speak about this fight, and he said the fans would get their hopes up and it would be a boring kickboxing matchup. And the more I think about it, I do feel like, yeah, Wonderboy's telling the truth here. This would be very, very boring. Wonderboy is one of the best strikers we've ever seen in the UFC, and MVP has got such an unorthodox way of striking. I think MVP would KO Stephen Wonderboy Thompson now at this point in his career. That would be my prediction for this fight. I would take MVP to win by KO. He's just so hard to time, MVP. But I mean, again, both guys are elite level kickboxers, and if anyone was able to get the timing right, maybe would be a Wonderboy. But I don't know. I just see MVP being able to crack him, jumping in with a right hand, and putting Wonderboy out, in my opinion. I'm taking MVP by KO. Next up, now this would have been interesting. Anderson Silva versus Alex Pereira, two legends of the game. I think Pereira's already a top 10 fighter of all time, and Anderson Silva is arguably top 5 all time, let's be honest. Now, in terms of this matchup, I'm going to keep this short because I don't really think there's much to really go into. Yes, on the ground, Anderson Silva could definitely submit Pereira. Anderson Silva was very aggressive with submissions when he was on the mat, but he's not a wrestler. He's not going to shoot for any takedowns on Pereira. And he got KO'd by Chris Weidman. I feel like Anderson Silva, with his hands down, cocky style on the feet, would be a disaster. Plus the leg kicks of Pereira. I think Alex Pereira would KO Anderson Silva. And finally, to round off this video, Zabit versus Sean O'Malley. Now, this is coming off Sean O'Malley's loss to Merab. Sean O'Malley would beat Zabit Nurmagomedov. Zabit, yes, was a very unorthodox fighter, but probably one of the biggest what-ifs in UFC history. Very well-rounded. We've seen him pull off some crazy submissions and the striking in there. But like I said, this is going to be a 5-round fight. Zabit also kind of took a dip. His cardio took a dip as the fight went on. Sean O'Malley is just such a precision striker. Even though he lost to Merab, I still do believe this guy is one of the best strikers currently in the UFC. I would take Sean O'Malley to win this fight by stoppage. But these are all great fantasy matchups. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.